Welcome back. Well, although they aren't authentically an Irish sandwich, Reubens are going to be found on every menu today, and no Reuben is complete without a hearty amount of sauerkraut. I'm joined now by the foremost experts of fermentation, R.J. Marvin from Barrel Brine, with more of what they have in store. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Let's talk a little bit about Barrel Brine and how you got started.
Yeah, of course. I spent a long time in kitchens. So 2015, my wife and I started Barrel Brine. Opened up in a small space, 700 square feet. Sorry, I'm not used to TV.
That's okay.
700 square feet in Buffalo proper. Now we're in 4,000 square feet.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, we've expanded.
Yeah, it's been really good. Tell us a little bit about what made you specifically want to go into fermentation.
Well, I was having a lot of conversations with people.
Yeah.
I noticed there was this big gap. My grandparents did it, my parents did it, but nobody really did it themselves. And everybody started to be really interested in it. And the connection that it had with their families. And I just noticed that connection was growing and growing. So we just said, well, let's not bring this to Buffalo.
I love it. Okay. Okay, let's talk about the fermentation process and what makes the perfect sauerkraut.
Of course, I would love to open this
Sure.
so you can see it, and you know, people at home can't smell it, but
Yeah.
we'll be able to smell this. So you can see in here right now, it's just 3 ingredients for us. Mm-hmm. It's cabbage, it's salt, and it's garlic.
Okay.
And that's it. Mm-hmm. So when people think of sauerkraut, typically, they're usually thinking of like that canned sauerkraut, right? That mushy, it's overly vinegary, and people just, it's just not that exciting. It's just not vibrant. Mm-hmm. And the difference between ours, and I'd love for you to try this later, it takes about 35 days for us to ferment this sauerkraut.
Okay.
And it's still raw. Mm-hmm. And it's such a cool concept to me. So even though it's very, you know, I don't want to say old, but even though it's been produced for so long, mm-hmm. it's still crunchy.
Yes.
It's still vibrant. It still has all that great flavor. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we're talking about Reubens, we're talking about St. Patrick's Day, and if you're going to put in all that effort into cooking a corned beef,
yeah.
and I'm sure you know, and I'm sure people at home know that it's not that easy to make. It
yeah.
takes a long time. So if you're going to make a Reuben, why would you use like that soggy stuff? You want something that's like this. It's vibrant, it's fresh, it's beautiful.
You want that
it's flavor.
crunch.
Yes, exactly. You want that, you know, that contrast in flavors. And the real difference between fermentation is that there's no vinegar in here, as I mentioned, so that the sour flavor that you get from that is from lactic acid. Whereas like pickles that we do make acidified pickles, but the sauerkraut in the can, it's just vinegar, and it's just not as vibrant and rich as this. Mm-hmm. And of course the probiotics.
That's right. Well, I'm glad you mentioned it, because it's not just the sauerkraut. You have other things to offer. So let's talk about what else you ferment.
Yeah, so, I mean, we have pickles here that are fermented, we have carrots, so a lot of these things, because we use a lot of local fresh produce as much as we can. We have an incredibly short growing season, so we try to bring in as much as we can and ferment that so people can enjoy produce at peak freshness all year round. So it changes quite a bit, mm-hmm. depends on what farmers have, you know, cucumbers, carrots. We make kimchi in-house, different types of sauerkraut, specialty sauerkrauts. And then my wife also makes kombucha, which is also, it's a drink, but
mm-hmm.
it's naturally fermented as well.
Yes, it is. I love kombucha. You do also make food in-house, right? Tell us about your menu.
Yeah, we do. It's fun. It changes a lot. Right now we have a lot of sandwiches, Italian subs and things like that. But of course, for the month of March and April, we do run Reubens. Mm-hmm. And what we call the mensch, which is a Reuben, but with our house-made mustard rather than a Thousand Island dressing. I feel like ours is pretty good. You know, I don't want to sound arrogant, but
no,
I think it's pretty tasty.
You've crafted, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, we cook our corned beef for a minimum of 15 hours.
Oh, wow.
Real low, real slow, real tender, and then, of course, with our great sauerkraut.
And, well, because obviously you mentioned you have a background in the food industry, so
yes.
you've seen and you've done, and then you've taken on your own family's history and things that you've learned and crafted your own perfection.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, being in restaurants, especially locally, in a lot of the restaurants that I was in, because we dealt with so many local farms, and as I said, that growing season is so short, it was important for us to take in what we could, but also, you know, when you're preparing a dish in a restaurant, a lot of times it's very rich, It's it's fatty, or you need something like this to kind of cut through that richness. Otherwise, you're just kind of eating it all, and it gets a little bit too heavy sometimes. So having a component on your dish that you're able to kind of escape to, and that really just also sparked that love and that passion for fermentation.
Let's talk about your location. Where can our viewers come out to visit you?
Yeah, so we are at 155 Chandler Street. We are across the street from Thin Man Tapo, and we're open weekends.
Nice.
Friday and Saturday, 12 to 6, Sunday, 12 to 4. As the weather hopefully eventually starts getting a little bit warmer, we extend our hours a little bit more. We have a beautiful courtyard.
Oh, nice.
Dogs are welcome, obviously kids. We can hang out in the courtyard, get some good food, get some kombucha. We're the only place in Buffalo that has fresh kombucha on tap. We have 12 taps, rotating flavors.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, seems like a great space. Well, we appreciate you for coming in. We know you've had a busy couple of days leading up to today, so we appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us for a little bit. And viewers, if you'd like to learn more about their products and location, you can visit barrelandbrine.com. Thanks again for coming in.
Thank you.